Hello and welcome. We all think about it, right? How do we keep our minds sharp as we get older? For a really long time, the story we told ourselves about our brains was, well, kind of a downer, a slow, inevitable decline. But what if that whole story is wrong? The great news is science is now telling us something completely different. It's a story of hope, of resilience, and of the incredible power we all have to protect one of our most valuable assets. So let's dive in and see how we can do it. Okay, let's just start with a number that honestly changes everything. A huge 2024 report from the Lancet Commission, we're talking one of the most respected medical journals in the world, estimates that nearly half, a full 45% of dementia cases, could potentially be prevented or at least delayed. And how? Not with some crazy future tech, but by tackling risk factors that we can actually control in our lives. This isn't just a number, it's a huge statement about our ability to be the architects of our own cognitive future. And that, right there, is the big idea today. It's time to throw out that old fatalistic notion that our brain's fate is just sealed by our genes. The science is becoming so clear. Our daily choices, from what we eat, to how we move our bodies, to how we connect with people, they all play a massive role in our brain's health long term. And the best part? It's never too early to start building good habits, and maybe even more importantly, it is never, ever too late to make a real difference. So, to really get how this works, we need to talk about this amazing concept called cognitive reserve. The easiest way to think about it is like your brain's backup generator. A neuropsychology student put it perfectly. A lifetime of stimulating activities helps us build more roads and highways inside our brain. We're creating this richer, more complex, more flexible network. So, if a roadblock, like, say, some age-related damage, pops up on one route, our brain just goes, no problem, and reroutes the traffic down another pathway. The more connections we build, the more resilient our brain becomes, letting it keep on humming, even when it faces challenges. Okay, so how do we actually build up that reserve? Well, our first pillar is all about fuel, and it might just be the most delicious part of this whole thing. The link between what we eat and how we think is way stronger than we ever imagined. And look, this is not about some restrictive, joyless diet. It's about understanding that certain foods are like premium fuel for our brain and making smart, consistent choices that nourish our minds from the inside out. The Global Council on Brain Health, or GCBH, makes this super simple. The core idea, what's good for your heart is good for your brain. It just makes perfect sense when you stop and think about it, right? Our brain is an incredibly hungry organ. It demands about 20% of our body's blood flow and oxygen. A healthy heart makes sure that all that nutrient-rich blood gets delivered efficiently. It's why diets like the Mediterranean diet, full of fish, olive oil, fruits, and veggies, have been linked to a lower risk of both heart disease and cognitive decline. And the changes can be so simple. You do not have to overhaul your entire kitchen overnight. It's all about making small, consistent swaps that really add up. So instead of cooking with butter all the time, try some heart-healthy olive oil. Instead of red meat every night, try fatty fish, like salmon. It's packed with those brain-boosting omega-3s. For a snack, instead of a heavy cheese dip, reach for salsa, which is full of vegetables. Every single one of these little choices is like making a deposit into your cognitive reserve account. Here's another incredibly simple but really powerful tip. Stay hydrated. Our brain is about 75% water, and it needs that water for literally everything, from controlling temperature to making neurotransmitters. And get this, our sense of thirst can actually get weaker as we age, which makes dehydration more common than we think. Researchers have found that even moderate dehydration is linked to things like confusion, memory lapses, and trouble paying attention. So, swapping a sugary soda for a glass of water is one of the easiest, cheapest, and most effective things you can do for your brain, starting right now. All right, let's move on to our second big pillar. It's not just about the fuel we put in, it's about how we use the engine. This means challenging our brain with both physical movement and mental engagement. It's all about creating an active lifestyle for your body and a curious, engaged lifestyle for your mind. It's a classic saying for a reason, right? Just like our physical muscles, our neural pathways get stronger when we use them and weaker when we don't. A life that's filled with learning, solving problems, and just genuine curiosity keeps those connections firing and forging brand new paths. There was this wonderful story about a mother who was becoming really distant and disengaged. But after she moved in with her family, surrounded by constant chatter and new things to learn, she just transformed. She became more joyful, more present, and cognitively sharp again. It's a beautiful example of the brain's deep need for engagement. Now, when we talk about physical activity, I want you to get the image of running a marathon out of your head.
The goal is simply to build more movement into your daily life. Exercise boosts blood flow to the brain, delivering all that vital oxygen and actually promoting the growth of new neurons. Take a brisk walk that gets your heart rate up. Choose the stairs instead of the elevator. Try something fun like dancing or gardening. Those are great because they combine physical activity with coordination and even social interaction. Even tiny habits, like parking a little farther from the store, really add up.
And the exact same idea applies to mental exercise. It's all about novelty and challenge. Doing the same crossword puzzle every single day is good, for sure, but learning a new skill, like a new language or an instrument or a card game, is even better because it forces your brain to create entirely new pathways. Someone shared that their relatives, both sharp well into their 90s, spent decades doing complex genealogy research. And here's a fun tip someone shared. Try writing with your non-dominant hand for a few minutes each day. The key is to find stuff that's enjoyably difficult, that stretches your mind just a little bit outside its comfort zone.
This brings us to our third, and maybe the most human pillar of them all, connection. Our brains, they don't exist in a vacuum. They are social organs designed to interact with the world and with other people. This pillar is all about making sure our brain is fully connected, both to the world through our senses and to the people who give our lives meaning. This quote from a family caregiver, wow, it just gets right to the heart of why this matters so much. Cognitive decline doesn't just affect one person, it creates ripples that touch everyone they love. So maintaining our brain health is an act of love for ourselves, yes, but it's also truly a gift to our families and our communities. Our connections are both a powerful motivator and a deeply protective thing in themselves. So get this, it turns out that untreated hearing loss is one of the biggest modifiable risk factors for dementia. When you can't hear well, your brain has to work overtime, straining just to process and figure out sounds. This is called cognitive load, and it basically diverts precious mental energy away from things like memory and problem solving. It also makes us withdraw socially. One major study found that using hearing aids is linked to a 19% lower risk of long-term cognitive decline. It's so clear. Treating hearing loss isn't just for your ears, it's for your brain. And the exact same thing is true for our eyes. Untreated vision loss can stop us from doing the very things that keep our minds sharp, like reading or doing puzzles or even just recognizing the faces of our loved ones across a room. It can literally shrink our world and lead to social isolation. Plus, poor vision increases the risk of falls, which can lead to injuries and hospital stays that just accelerate cognitive decline. That's why regular eye exams and getting your vision corrected are such simple but vital steps to keep your brain safely and actively plugged into the world. And that leads us right to human connection itself. Research shows that chronic social isolation is strongly linked to brain atrophy and cognitive decline. There's a powerful story from someone whose grandfather deteriorated so quickly after his wife passed away, the family realized her constant social interactions had been like a protective shield for him. Engaging in conversation is a complex mental workout. You have to listen, process, recall memories, and feel empathy. Nurturing our friendships and family ties isn't some luxury. It's fundamental to a brain-healthy life. So we've got our three pillars: fuel, activity, and connection. Each one is a really powerful tool. Now, let's put it all together in a toolkit and tackle a big question that comes up all the time, especially when we're all looking for an easy solution. In a world of quick fixes, it's totally natural to wonder, isn't there a supplement or a pill that can just do all this for me? I mean, the market for brain health supplements is absolutely booming. It's projected to hit over $5.8 billion globally. These products promise to boost memory, focus, clarity. But does the science actually back up the marketing? The Global Council on Brain Health, which brings together scientists and doctors from all over the world, is very, very clear on this. Their consensus is simple. Unless a doctor has told you that you have a specific vitamin or nutrient deficiency, the absolute best way to get what your brain needs is from a healthy diet. The evidence just isn't there to recommend over-the-counter supplements for brain health. Our bodies are designed to absorb nutrients from whole foods, where they all work together in complex ways that a single pill just can't copy. And here's why we really need to be careful. Unlike prescription drugs, supplement makers in the US don't have to prove their products are safe or effective before they hit the shelves. They can use this vague, appealing language like supports brain function or promotes memory, but they are legally forbidden from saying they can treat, cure, or prevent a disease like Alzheimer's. It's a largely unregulated industry, which means as a consumer, you have no real guarantee that what's in the bottle is what the label says or that it'll do anything for you at all.
It really pays to be a skeptical consumer here.
So let's recap the real toolkit we've built today.
It's not about a magic pill. It's about a lifestyle built on a collection of powerful, evidence-based habits. First, fuel your brain with a heart-healthy diet full of real whole foods. Second, move your body every day in ways that you actually enjoy. Third, connect with the world and the people you love by taking care of your hearing and vision and nurturing those social ties. And finally, challenge your mind by staying curious and always learning something new.
If you take away only one single thing from our chat today, please let it be this. This message of hope is echoed by researchers and clinicians everywhere. It doesn't matter if you're 25, 45, or 85. The human brain has this remarkable capacity for change and adaptation. It's called neuroplasticity. The steps you take today to improve your diet, to get more active, to strengthen your connections, they can have a real, measurable, positive impact on your cognitive health for years and years to come. In the end, it all comes down to action. You don't have to revolutionize your entire life overnight. That's just overwhelming. Just start with one thing, one small step. Maybe it's deciding you're going to swap soda for water at lunch today. Maybe it's putting on some music and dancing around the kitchen for 10 minutes. Maybe it's just picking up the phone to call a friend you haven't talked to in a while. The journey to a sharper mind begins with a single, simple step. What's yours going to be?